Testing.
splits Kenya in two, if you like. It means that you see the northern hemisphere in the winter and the southern hemisphere in the summer.
Daniel Chu Owen, the man behind the travelling telescope in Kenya. On Tuesday, hundreds of New Yorkers are expected to gather in Manhattan over the 112 people who have been killed in traffic collisions so far this year, and more than 23,000 injured. It's being called the Vigil for Vision Zero. It's being organised by activists who argue that an aggressive car lobby, allied with transport workers' unions, is resisting attempts to make the city safer for pedestrians and cyclists. Matt Wells reports from New York on the angry struggle over right-of-way on the city streets.
Families for Safe Streets aims to turn grief into action. With the past few years as anything to go by, the advocacy of groups like this appears to be having an effect. The mayor is committed to a Vision Zero strategy, which aims rather idealistically to eliminate traffic deaths within 10 years. And last year, a new right-of-way law made it a minor criminal offence for a driver to kill or injure a pedestrian, where the motorists failing to show due care and attention.
During the process of crossing the street with a crosswalk, the driver came and made a left turn, running her over with both tires, crushing her head in the process of the rear tire.
Shipei Liao describes the senseless death of his 3-year-old daughter Alison on a crosswalk in Queens nearly 2 years ago. Shipei and his wife Amy are determined to keep campaigning to change New York's car culture and the lax laws as they see it, which sustain it.
It's a solid epidemic.
Every day I'm angry at drivers because it's that self-interest and that selfishness of like getting there a few minutes faster. That is the same mentality that got our daughter killed.
So there's a lot of pieces that need to come in place. It's slowly coming together. I mean, it's going to be a long process.
from Deep Eddy Rug and Carpet Cleaners, a family-owned and operated business specializing in oriental rug cleaning since 1953. For a list of services, deepeddyrugcleaners.com.
Austin's forecast, partly cloudy. Tonight, lows in the lower 70s. Tuesday, a partly cloudy morning and a sunny afternoon. Highs tomorrow in the mid-90s. Right now at Camp Mabry, the temperature is 95 degrees. The heat index is 101. Austin ISD hosts the Summer Science Institute August 3rd through 6th. The free 4-day conference for all AISD pre-K through 12 science teachers and administrators will feature a keynote address by Dr. Art Markman and Dr. Bob Duke, plus nearly 100 workshops presented by teachers and specialists. Registration at bit.ly/institute15.
BBC News with Jonathan Izard. The Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras is facing growing opposition in Athens to some new austerity measures introduced in exchange for a new bailout. Defence Minister Alison Ellis, against a junior party governing coalition, described the deal as a coup. Alexis said Mr. Tsipras' own Syriza party said the agreement was humiliating to Greece. The deal requires the Greek Parliament to approve tax rises, pension cuts and changes to employment laws by Wednesday. Said it may take around 4 weeks for the bailout program for Greece to be finalised. The EU has set up a working group to address some of the more urgent emergencies facing Greece. Mexico's Interior Minister has called a meeting with state governors on how to prevent the increasing violence following the escape of the country's most wanted drug lord. Manhunt is underway across Mexico and neighbouring countries to try to recapture Joaquin Guzman. Analysts say his escape from a top security prison could trigger a violent turf war across Mexico with rival drug cartels. Police in Israel say they've detained a Palestinian activist a day after he was freed from prison.
Every day I almost died doing this.
On the legal ownership of more than 100,000 square kilometres in the Indian Ocean. Tests have shown potential reserves of oil and gas in the area. And one of the world's most popular hip-hop stars, the rapper 50 Cent, has filed for bankruptcy protection in the United States. The move came days after a court ordered him to pay $5 million to a woman who had sued him for posting an explicit video online that she had made with her boyfriend without her permission. BBC News.
First our daily look at Christmas games. The sound of the Japanese video game maker Nintendo has just been announced that Nintendo's chief executive Satoru Iwata, one of the giants of the industry, has died. He was 55 and had cancer. On hand, there's a quick tale of Stephen Tortillo, he's editor-in-chief of the gaming news website.
Nintendo is a very important company in gaming. It touches a lot of people emotionally. So a lot of people, they grew up playing Nintendo games. And Satoru Iwata is the beloved CEO of this company. For many people, he's the reason that they had so much pleasure of playing Nintendo games.
Beloved CEO, to some people, might seem like a bit of an oxymoron, but what was it that made him special?
He was unusual as a CEO. He was definitely not a suit, even though he wore one. He was a tried and true gamer and game developer who, his first video game was playing Pong when he got out of university in Japan. He helped found a video game development company. He was a programmer first. A lot of the CEOs of video game companies, they come from product marketing or whatnot, but he was a guy who always cared most about making games. It always seems to be what made him happiest, that even when he stopped making them and was the new Nintendo CEO, there seemed to be nothing he'd rather more than talking about the creation of video games. People saw this, I think they appreciated that maybe they trusted him to be a good steward of this very company. That's so much so many people. not suited to grown-up gaming. But he had a vision. He had a vision to do things differently than Sony PlayStation or Microsoft Xbox, and that was to create video games and gaming platforms that would appeal to more people than your standard gamer. And he did that with the Nintendo DS and Nintendo Wii, which were scoffed at by critics and championed by Iwata, became massive global phenomena.
That was some years ago. Did he continue to have Magic Touch then?
He's had the Magic Touch for many years, and I would say that in his 13-year run as CEO, most of the years were good years, but the last couple of years had been more difficult. I have to say that even if the business for Nintendo was up and down, one thing that was never down was the quality of Nintendo's games, and a lot of them were unusual. He told me that if all Nintendo ever did was make sequels, it would be uninteresting. He said, that's not the kind of company I want to have, it's not the kind of person that I want to be. He was always interested in surprising and challenging people.
Stephen Totilo with that appreciation of the Nintendo chief executive Satoru Iwata. This is NewsHour coming to you live